Hi there, welcome to this week masterclass. My name is Dr. Oluwasegun Julius Aroba, your wealth, financial, entrepreneurship, mind surgeon. In this week masterclass, I'm going to be talking to you about the psychology of risk and reward. When it comes to wealth building, there's quite a lot of few concepts out there that are pivotal as a relationship between risk and rewards. Every financial opportunity, from investing into stocks to start a business as an entrepreneur, involves some level of degree and some level of risk. Yet, many people have perceived it and responded to risk as that it plays a significant role in whether what we do as an opportunity or we shy away from it. And for most people, the very idea in terms of risk, it's working conjunctions up in terms of feeling for anxiety to say, if I'm going to be doing it, what am I going to get at the end of the day? And do I really need to go on that? And the fear setting. And the fear of losing the money. Some say, you know what, it's good for me to keep the money because I like to see it. I like to see that it's actually growing over time and over the years. And the fear of losing that money and making the wrong decisions. Because some will say, I don't want to lose the money. When I lose the money, there's going to be a problem around it. Or facing an unknown, or they call it fear of unknown. And can also be overwhelming at times when you are setting up on the journey of creating wealth. But here is the thing. The word risk, R-I-S-K, is an inherent part of any financial journey that one needs to take. Imagine you're waking up in the morning and you're standing up from the bed. You just took a risk. Why not go back to bed and say, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy the day. I don't want to take a risk of going out there. Then why do you take a risk in driving out your car or in stepping out of your house when you know it's also risky out there? So, I'll tell you today, as a financial and entrepreneurship person, as a career person who is on a journey of creating wealth, there are some myths in terms of risk, in terms of reward. And that is why it's very important that risk is also part of life. And when you risk it, you can be able to give yourself a reward when the profit comes in. There is a difference between those who thrive financially and those who remain stuck, and they often come down to know how to manage their perception about risk and their ability to take calculated risk. Now, for every business you want to go on to, this is some of the things we always advise you as part of the Zillionaires community, as that you've got to check the people behind the business. How many years have they been in business? And what is their characteristics? What kind of person are they? Are they people that have gotten a proven record in business? And how have they been doing in terms of finance, in terms of management, in terms of accountability? Remember, if you don't investigate, you will be envisaged out of the business or shanked out of the business. And this is why you've got to know how to take calculated risk. And here is it. You need to understand the psychology of risk. At every core point in life, it's all about the uncertainty. And it is the possibility that things might not go as planned, which is normal. And you know that we might be able to lose money or time or energy. For example, taking a case study of an insurance company. When you are taking an insurance will be able to check what is your health risk when it has to do with health risk or health insurance. They want to know what kind of sickness or what kind of ailment the person has got and what is the risk, and is it going to be profitable for them in that business. This is why it's also good for you to be able to know, okay, I've got to actually start investing into health and into holistic health insurance, so that when the fear of unknown happens, maybe you eat something, maybe your health deteriorated over the years and you're not able to take care of those things, then you'll be able to know that, okay, I'm not wasting money, I'm not wasting time, I'm not wasting energy. So a lot of people actually have perception in terms of risk and how it helps them to shape their various factors in terms of their personal experiences. And some look at cultural influences because in their homes, they don't actually look at risk and reward. For every reward, for every profitability in our business, as a conglomerate, as a group, we normally reward ourselves with different things. How we perceive and respond to risk is very crucial, because it helps us to be able to look at how we can make a better financial decision. Today, earlier on, I was speaking to one of my mentees, and I asked him, how much do you need for that business? And how many people are in that business? And what kind of calculated risk have you guys been able to take to raise some money? And I've been able to see some X amount of steps. And I said, okay, can we meet to be able to see? And I want to be able to know the personality behind the business. And I said, do you know that if I've been able to check the risk, I can be able to see how I can come up with a reward, and also to be an investor or as a company to look at something possible for them. Now, everything we do in life is all about risk. You want to buy a share in the company, it's about risk. You want to be able to go put your money in the bank. You don't know if the bank is going to fold tomorrow. It's a risk. You don't know if you're actually, whatever you're putting your money into, if it's going to serve you for a long time or short time. The brain is wired to detect potential threats, whether they are physical or financial, and it reacts strongly to them. And this is why it's very important that this natural instinct, which is the brain itself, is very useful in many situations. And avoiding physical harm, for example, but it can also lead to what I call overestimation of risk when it comes to financial decisions. And most people always look at another angle to financial decisions and in terms of the risks that are involved in it. For instance, when they're faced with an investment opportunity that carries the potential for great returns, our brain actually get wired up, focused on the worst case scenarios, losing money, facing failures, or experiencing regrets. Some will tell you, you know what, if I'm investing into this in 2 years, in 2 months, what's going to be the risk involved? And a lot of things like that. And these are some of the things that I say emotional response is also very important, because it can lead to what I call experiencing regrets and hesitations, procrastinations, or avoidance of opportunity altogether when you bring them together in one path. The key to financial success is learning to manage these emotional reactions and to assess the risk, or to assess the risk rationally rather than emotionally. Because if you want to go into business, you want to put your emotion aside. You look at it rationally so that there can be much more profitability in terms of that business. This takes us to what I call the emotional side of risk taking. Money, for most people, is not just a tool but for exchange. It is tied up to deep emotions. When you put in money into something, there is what I call a deep emotion that goes to that. And it is tied up to security or status or fear or self-worth of the individual or companies that you're investing into. When we make financial decisions in life, especially those that are involved in risk, our emotions often take center stage. Fear, anxieties, and some of the need for us to be able to look at these, what I call gratification, instant gratification, can cloud our judgments and influences our behavior in a way that are counterproductive to wealth creation becomes stagnant. For example, you imagine you've been saving for years, donkey of month, and you finally now see how to have enough money to make a significant investment in life. This money, you now consider it to be taking that step. Fear that creeps in. You'll be like, what about if I lose this money? What's going to happen? The moment you consider taking that steps, fear creeps in that business, in that ideology that you are trying to invest into. Fear creeps in and you start looking at it that, okay, if I don't do it, what happened? And if the money still remains there, am I still happy with 2%, 1% that the bank is giving me? The moment you consider taking that steps, there's a lot of things you need to look out for. What if you lose it all? What if the market crashes? The fears are completely natural, but they can actually hold you back from making the right decisions, and fear of losing it is one of the most powerful emotions that drives the impact of your financial decision. Psychologists call this what I call phenomenal loss aversion. Phenomenal loss aversion. It is the idea that actually pain of losing money is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasures of gaining some of these amount or the same amount. This can cause investors to make an overly conservative decisions or avoid investing altogether because they fear losing money and what they already have. The fear of loss often outweighs the potential for rewards, and as a reward, many people miss out on opportunities that could significantly increase their wealth. Another emotional aspect of risk is status anxiety, where this fear looks at the foolishness or failing in front of others. Some will say, I don't want to fail by when I lose it. And many people avoid high-risk investment or entrepreneurship ventures, not because they don't believe in it, but because the opportunity of fear of judgment creeps in. They are worried about what others will think about them. And if they fail, what's going to happen? In the world of wealth creation, the fear of judgment can lead to many mislead opportunities and financial stagnations. How do we develop balanced approach to risk avoidance? While fear and anxieties are natural responses, there is need for you to be able to look at the goal to avoid risk altogether, instead of the goal to develop a balanced approach to risk that is allowed to grow your wealth strategically without being paralyzed by fear. What are some of these things, strategies that you've got to put in place? Understand the risk involved in ratio. And when you understand the risk involved ratio, you now need to start small, scaling gradually. Maybe from 10,000 or from 5,000 to 10,000, from 10,000 to 20,000, from 20,000 upwards. You start increasing the risk ratio and the reward around it. And the third step is for you to look at diversifying your investment portfolios. Instead of you putting your eggs in only one basket, you want to diversify it. Look at stocks, look at real estate, look at paper assets, look at different classes of assets that you can be able to diversify. So in case if one did not do well, the other one will do well. For example, in stocks market, I remember we do have almost about 40 stocks that we buy from different companies. Some get lose values, some even get fold up, but the others actually get climbing up along the line. The fourth step is for you to embrace long-term thinking. And the fifth step is for you to look at controlling what you can. And the sixth step is for you to now see how to build emotional resilience in that business. And how do you overcome some of these fear of the risk? It's for you to now start looking out for risk as an inevitable part of your wealth building process. But this is how you manage and perceive risk with all that you do in terms of the psychology of risk. On a lighter note, I do believe that when you go over this, make sure you spend time, reshare this video, send it to your community, send it to your friends and family, your business associates, your colleagues at work, or in any business that you're looking at. The psychology of risk and reward is very important as an entrepreneurship person, as a career person who is on a journey of creating wealth. I do believe that you've actually been able to learn something great in this master class today. And on a lighter note, I want to tell you, there is a book called The Wealth Code Rewiring. I want to endeavor to applaud you to go over to www.juliusaroba.com/shop.html. You get the book called The Wealth Code Rewiring. It's actually written by Dr. Oluwasegun Julius Aroba. It's a book that's going to be encouraging for you. Again, if you're also part of our community or you're not part of our community, just look for our community on LinkedIn called the RSEC Links Zillionaires, RSEC Links Zillionaire Consulting. You'll find a group on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and also on the group. Again, anywhere you're seeing this video, drop comments. What have you learned? Share, comment positively, and also share what are those kind of fear and risk that you've been able to take. Until I come your way again, my name is Dr. Julius Oluwasegun Aroba, your wealth, financial, entrepreneurship, mindset surgeon. I'll see you again in our next class. Goodbye for now. Bye everyone. See you again.